Now, the moment you feel that you are a living being, how can you say that I am the body? Can you say? चुप रहते हैं, क्यों बोलिए ना कुछ. हम तो सुनने वालों से उनको तो बोलते हैं. If you keep quiet, how can I proceed? See, as long as you are living, can you say I am only the body? No. Then why are you doubtful about the soul? People are asking for explanations. Can you show me the soul? No, soul cannot be shown. You are the soul. That is why you ask this question. If you were a dead body, this question would not have come. The very fact that you react to external stimuli goes to prove that you are a living presence. So the body is enlivened, animated, activated by a presence. And that is what we call the soul. It is not something like a body. It doesn't have an individuality. It is not something like a mass. It doesn't have weight. It is something like initially air. Later on it is something like space. The external space is inert, insentient. But the internal presence is sentient space, you can say. Chidakasha, you can say. So the Jada Buddhi says, Deho hamityeva jadasya buddhi. By saying that there is nothing besides the body, beyond the body, by saying so, you are only declaring, I am a Jada. I am a Jada. I am a fool. I have no sentience at all. This is the declaration. So only an insentient person or a fool of the first order, he will say, Deho hamityeva jadasya buddhi. Now the second level will be, Dehe jajive vidushastvaham dhihi. They recognize that something different from the body is there. I am not all body. I am body, I am also a living presence. This much they agree. You understand? I am not the body alone, but I am also the living presence. Viveka vijnanavato mahatmano. When you start introspecting over the subject, I have been speaking for nearly 2 days now. When you introspect, what is this presence? It is the sentient presence. Now, is the body making you feel the presence of the self, or the self makes you feel the presence of the body? I have a body. I have a body. The body is not telling you the presence of the mind. The mind says, I have a body. The body doesn't say, you have or I have. The mind. So, Viveka. So, first of all, you have a differentiation between the living body and the dead body. And then say, in the living body, besides the body, there is a living presence. That presence is different from matter and energy, the Panchabhutas. Now go on blowing it up, blowing it up. It is just like I give you a small cinder, burning, glowing. So you use it, and finally huge fire blazes from there. Similarly, this Viveka Agni will have to blaze forth. Blow it up, give it oxygen, give it all material so that it can burn. Viveka Vijnanavato Mahatmano. You become a Mahatma. Who becomes a Mahatma? Not the moneyed man, not the educated man, not the resourceful person, not the research person. The Mahatma is one who is able to enhance his Viveka, penetrate within the body, get into the mind sphere, the intelligence sphere, the ego sphere, and understand what these are. What is the depth? What is the measurement? What is the magnitude of what is within the body? We are measuring matter and energy using our senses. But the inner measurements can never be with the senses. You can only use your mind and intelligence, nothing else. So using the mind and the intelligence, sit in a place, introspect over your own inside, where from thoughts emerge, where do they prevail, where are they getting dissolved, how many thoughts are there. Though so many thoughts are there, how many sources are there? The thinker remains the same, Only thoughts and thinking are plural. So one thinker gives rise to plurality of thoughts. What is his potential then? It's potential. If there is a thinker in me and the thinker can produce millions of thoughts, what should be his potential? What kind of a pot maker is he? See, you start going into the magnitude, the potential, the profundity, the majesty, the magnificence, the splendor of what is inside. The external light is seen by the eye. In that light, all the objects are revealing. But the external light itself is revealed by what? By the eye. The presence of the eye and the opening of the eyelids, these are done by the buddhi or mind. And the existence of the buddhi itself is cognized by something else. So there seems to be something in ascending proportion. Senses are there, superior to the world objects. The mind is there, superior to the senses. The buddhi is there, still superior. And ultimately something further superior is there, and that is the eye. So which is the greatest and the last illuminer, enlightener for us. Now, Vigvega Vijnanavato. Go into this. Take it up as a direct personal research. Give a lot of value to it. Give a lot of realism into it. And go on, go on, go on, go on. Penetrate into your within. For such a person, Brahmahamityeva Matihi Sadatmani. Then he finally comes to the conclusion, I am not the body, I am the I. And the I, and the I is different from the Panchabhutas. That is the only sixth factor in the whole universe. It is as pervasive as space. All potentials belong to it. All performances are from it. Everything is dissolving into it. That is the creator, that is the preserver, and that is the dissolver. Do you know of any other creator? See, a creator must be one who creates something new, who preserves what is created, and who dissolves. Where can you notice in the whole world all the three processes except within your body? Their emotions are created, thoughts are created, memories are created, knowledge is created. All of them are subsisting and prevailing there, and all of them are equally dissolved. Why say much? The entire wakefulness is evolved from there. And the wakefulness is of infinite range, and the whole of it is dissolved into it when you go to sleep. So what should be the majesty and magnificence of the inner presence? When he realizes it, Brahmahamityeva Matihi Sadatmani. He understands that I am not the perishable body, like the perishable objects of the world. I am the imperishable presence, 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 presence in the body, in the body. This is the only imperishable thing. All the other things are perishing. Dehohamityeva jadasya buddhihi. Dehe cha jive vidushastvaham dhihi. Viveka vijnanavato mahatmano. Brahmahamityeva mati sadatmani. So the question I pose before you is, there are two items here. The drishya, the visible, and the drashta, the subject, the seeing, the seer. The entire life is an interaction between the two, the subject and the object, the drashta and the drishya. In this drishya samayoga, in the conjunction or interaction between the drashta and the drishya, you tell me, are you the drishya or the drashta? And the entire drishya, is it not something that floats over the drashta? And does it remain separate from the drashta or not separate? Then what is your problem? Not understanding this is the problem. उसके बाद पूछिए मत एक घटना यहाँ हुई है. Sometimes when people say he has spoken something, he has spoken harshly. Who has spoken harshly? He. And why are you crying? Ask him to cry. Arey, he has spoken harshly. Have you spoken? No. Who is the criminal? He. And you are crying? Now, the point that we have to understand is, the whole life is an interaction between an individual and the rest of the world. The individual is the subject and the rest of the world will be the objects. Even his own body is an object which he sees. Under the subtle objects come the mind, intelligence and ego. So the subject part will be beyond the ego. From there the interactions are taking place. Now the objects are many, the subject is the same. The objects cannot stand independently, but the subject always prevails. You are during the wakefulness. In sleep you don't die. You slept and you wake up. Sometimes in between you have a dream. Then also you dreamt. So the dreamer, the sleeper and the waker, are they three or one? So there is only one subject. All the other objects disappear in sleep, and counter objects are produced in dream. So the power of the subject is very clear in producing the counter objects, parallel objects in dream. What more do you want? So is the subject immensely and infinitely potent or not? Huh? That infinite potential of the subject you must be able to grasp. This is called Viveka. And then once you are aware of it, dissolve all your thought processes. Dissolve? I don't know why people are after. He pounced at me. You don't pounce upon him. And you keep quiet. See, it requires a confidence and a clarity. Suppose people start saying, Swamiji, you are not a sannyasi. What shall I do? Shall I give him a slap? He says, I say you are free to say I am not a sannyasi. Others are equally free to say that I am one. And I am free to think what I am. So can we not have this confidence? Why are we so much afraid of? It is one thing to be true and good. It is altogether different when others say you are not good and you are bad. You should not feel shaken. The entire world is making us shake. Our interactions with the objects, which life is, in the whole process, do the objects make us the object? Do the objects make us the object? Our interactions clearly tell us that I am the subject and the objects alone are objects. However much I may interact with the objects, the subject position of myself never undergoes any change or decline. So every day's interactions confirm that I am the subject. I am the subject. I am the subject. When you become unhappy and miserable, is that experience showing you that you have become misery, or you are only experiencing misery? Now to experience misery, you have to be different from the misery. If I have to see these pets, suppose I bring it very close to the eye, can I see? So there must be a clear distance and separation. So it has to be an object, and experiencing an object, internal or external, does not make me the object. Make me the object. Is this principle understood or not? So I may interact with the objects to any extent. That interaction only confirms my subject nature, and the rest of them are all objects. So the subject has got the power to dissolve all object impressions. This class, all of you, have you understood? Or there is still doubt in you? Please raise your hand. Huh? So please don't live as a low person in this world. Live in an edifying manner, in an enriching manner, getting enriched manner. Never weep, never sob. If you want to shed tears, I have no objection. Okay, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you cry. Every day you cry. It's very good. Just like the bladder is empty, the tear glands also should be used. It's okay, I have no objection. But after crying, you should feel relief. That's what I ensure. I want you to ensure. So the question is, the subject never becomes the object. I am the witness of the world. Witness of the world. All that you have to do is samahitaha. Samahitaha. Be regulated. Be moderated. Be reformed. Be refined. At no point of time you should lose control over yourself. We generally say, time is a healer. Where is time after all? Is there anything called time at all? When the objects are present, they go on changing. We measure it as time. If objects were not there and no transformation also is taking place in the objects, there will be nothing called time. So if something heals in you, is it the mind that heals or time that heals? Our mind has got immense potential. As it creates, it can also uncreate. There are many things which you forget over the passage of time. Over the passage of time, many things you forget. So, drishyam pratihitam pravilapayan sanmatramanandaghanam vibhavayan samahitasan behirantaram va kalam nayetha sati karma bandhe. Just allow the passage of time. All of us are allowing the passage of time. Allow the time to have its own course. The earth emerged at one time in the passage of time. We were born at one point of time. We are continuing to live. At one time the body will fall. So many bodies have fallen. Will your body remain or fall? Afraid to say? Suppose your grandfather continues to live even now, would you like it? Would he like it? Huh? Nobody would like. Go to the old people, their complaint is that our body doesn't fall. See, let us not worry about it. Let us live comfortably. Kalam nayetha. This is the one formula for us. Just go ahead with the passage of time. People are worried about looking after the children. I say never worry. Give him daily food, not a week's food. You give him daily food 3 times. Send him to the school one day after the other. And he will simply grow. You cannot compact the growth of a week, month or a year. So the time will pass. The earth will revolve. Day will be produced. Will be followed by night. There will be weeks. There will be fortnights. There will be month. And there will be year and decade. All these things are nothing belonging to us. Everything belonging to the earth and the other planets in the sky. What is it that we are worried so much about? Why don't you spend some time in the introspection in this manner? So let us recite this verse once again. Drishyam pradihidam pravilapayan san sanmatramanandaghanam vibhavayan samahitasan behirantaram va kalam nayetha sati karma bandhe. See, if you ask me, Swamiji, how do you live? I really don't live. What lives here? Mother Earth lives. The sun and the moon, all of them are there. And I am a small byproduct in the whole process. My body also was born. Because I happen to be a human person, I have a human body, I am still living. In my family, our parents, Purvashrama parents lived up to 80 and beyond. And my brother Swamiji was nearly 90. So it goes to prove other people had died. I am the only surviving person. So there is possibility for a longevity. Mentally I am prepared to live for 10 or 15 years, provided my body is flexible and I can move it properly and I am useful or relevant to the others. Suppose it is not so, I would like to simply drop my body. If I were an ant, I would have perished perhaps in 1 or 2 weeks. If I were a rat, I had a rat's body, maybe a little longer. If I had a bull's body or a horse's body, maybe a little longer. Because I have a human body, I continue to live. The merit of it, it does not belong to me. No merit at all. I am only expressing whatever I have. With the hands I hold, with the tongue I speak, with the brain I think, with the legs I walk. That's all what I do. And if you ask me what you do, Swamiji, I only do 2 things. Either I speak or I write. Of course, I have my bath, answering the calls of nature, food, etc. Otherwise, I have only 2 functions, speaking and writing. As long as my tongue speaks, I speak. As long as my hands or other things work and write, I do it. When it's not possible, it will automatically stop. I don't claim anything. I don't disclaim anything also. No claim at all. Can we not live comfortably and easily like this? Swamiji, what is your motive? I say, what is the motive for the earth? What is the motive for the sun? And I am a product of all this. So my life is without motive. I would like to do the best and the maximum. Without any motive. So I have my joy, not after completing a work. I have a joy while starting the work, before starting and while doing after completion. So I live a joyful life, I live a fulfillmental life, I live a realizational life, I live a liberational life. And this is 100% possible. So remember this, that you are the subject sentience and the whole world and interaction proceed from the subject. The subject is superior to the object and it has the potential and the majesty to dissolve every impression, thought, emotion, knowledge, memory or otherwise. Understand this subject. This is greater than the entire universe and therefore greater than Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara. You are not ready for such a high position, isn't it? Huh? Greater than Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara. Later on, Vivek Chudamani says, Narayanoham Narakantakoham. What? Narayanoham Narakantakoham Puratanoham Purushohamishaha. Narayanoham Narakantakoham Purantakoham Purushohamishaha. Purantakoham Purushohamishaha. Akhanda bodhoham ashesha sakshi. Nirishwaroham niraham janurmamaha. Akhanda bodhoham ashesha sakshi. Nirishwaroham niraham janurmamaha. When are you able to say, I am Narayana? Narayanoham. When can you say that? Niraham janurmamaha. When that separate entity feeling I and therefore you, then he, she, it and they. When that bindu that drops in you, nirmamaha, you also are free from possessiveness. When you are free from aham and mama, then you become Lord Narayana. Then you become Lord Narayana. See, psycho-intellectual fact is that a mind rid of ego and rid of possessiveness, it becomes absolutely divine, celestial. Narayanoham, Naragandakoham, Purandakoham, Purushoham Ishaha. What are you saying? Huh? Tell me, is India poor or rich to the power of infinity? Huh? Let all people borrow from us without any interest. All people are giving us money with interest. Let them take us freely. We will not charge them anything at all. When we went to America, there was a discussion, Swamiji, here for people to make donations, they have to be called gold, silver, platinum, jubilee, copper, etc. And we should charge. No, we always say, no, we don't like to. Let us create a tradition of not charging for anything. Let us conduct the programs. You know, a few salaried people are taking us. They don't have big money, but nevertheless they have been managing it. All youngsters getting their salary. But so far we have held on to this. I think this knowledge is not to be given under a charge. But I don't know whether we also will be forced to be corrupt ourselves. Because when we offer it freely, people don't value it. So we have to put a big stamp over it. Everybody is saying, whenever a course is announced, register it. What is the registration fee? The course is useless. So this is the position.